Good morning and welcome back to another Saturday morning coffee episode on Alcove. First up, have you ever walked away from a debate or a discussion or anything and went, damn it, I meant to say X. I meant to say that. I would have won that argument. God damn it, right? Okay, so last week, on a couple of different topics, there are two things I meant to say that I did not say. First of all, in my defense regarding credit card debt, even though I don't need to make a defense because it's a life that I've owned up to or whatever, but I guess not in defense, but in context, I have only gotten to this point of being and having all this debt because I have made the accident of at a young age getting a joint credit card with two people independently of each other. I thought these were people that were going to be in my life for a long time, and I thought that I could trust them, and I thought we had deals, and there was all sorts of things to protect me there, and I had to learn my lesson. And so I got joint credit cards with two people I shouldn't have, and that strapped me with $8,000 of additional debt. Yeah, and if I hadn't done that, I would not have credit card debt today. Probably. If you have money, you make mistakes. So maybe I would have, maybe I wouldn't have. Anyways, the other thing I meant to say was that last week was a short episode because, it was the last farmers market of the year here in Moscow. And the Moscow's farmers market, I think I've talked about it before, but it is one of the greatest farmers markets I have ever been to in my life. It's probably, it's now tied with the one I went to in Astoria. And I've done a whole episode of where I pondered the difference between a farmer's market with it versus like just a local open air market, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, Moscow Farmers Market, it's amazing. If you ever find yourself in North Idaho, I know I have a global audience, but people take weird vacations all the time. Moscow's Farmers Market is like one of the best things to do, and I think in all of Idaho. Sadly, it ends on the final weekend of October. And so it was I meant to have it as a short episode last week because I needed to get to this farmer's market. And I am drinking a local roasting company, Clearwater Roasting. I've talked about them before on this podcast as well. But they have remembered me since the very first time. The very first time I bought some coffee from them, I was wearing a shirt that said, "Get your own podcast." And they asked me if I had a podcast, blah, blah, blah. I told them. And then from that first moment, they have remembered me. Every time I've gone back, they're like, "Oh, it's the podcast guy. How's your podcast?" Whatever. They ask a few questions about it. They're really nice. They remember who I am. And immediately, if you remember some detail like that, you've got me hook, line, sinker. I will be your faithful client or faithful... why am I forgetting? I don't know the word right now, but I will be faithful to your store for the rest of my damn life. You've got me. And so, I've only showed up at their place a total of 4 times now because I only need so much coffee. And every single time they have remembered who I am. They remember the podcast. They ask me questions. And they're just genuinely very nice, very good people. So I needed to go see them one last time and get some more coffee. And now they deliver because they're a local place and I can get it from them. But it's never the same when you could just walk up to their tent and grab some coffee grounds, right? I'm definitely going to be ordering from them when I run low again, but it's just, doesn't have the same vibe to it. And speaking of like walking away from a debate or discussion and having anyone going, "Damn it, I meant to say this." I brought with me a cup of coffee to the farmer's market, and I was literally drinking their coffee. And we sat there and talked for a minute about the podcast before I left with a new bag of coffee. And I got about 50 feet away and I went, damn it, I should have told them I was drinking their coffee right now. They would have loved that. And so, story of my life. I walk away and I went, damn, that would have been a really cool thing to say. What can you do, I guess? Anyways, if you can get Clearwater Roasting Company, or if you can get any of your local or regional coffees, get it. I promise you, it is always worth the extra $2-3 because the quality is always so much better. All right, and as another follow-up, my holiday decorations are up. Let's go. I'm really excited about this. So just like I said, I got off work at 5 on Friday, yesterday. I got in the car, went shopping with Faith. We bought some Christmas decorations, and then we grabbed a drink on the way home. So I didn't make an eggnog drink first, so I kind of lied a little bit. I ended up getting a drink from my favorite coffee hut in town. By the way, a coffee hut, I cannot believe I have to explain this, but after living in Texas, these don't exist. But a coffee hut is literally just like a thing maybe the size of a closet plopped down in the middle of a parking lot, and they just make coffee. Turns out these things don't exist everywhere. I kind of thought that it was such a simple thing that it would be everywhere I went. But through my extensive travels, I have found out, no, these don't exist. In Texas, could not find a single coffee hut. Every single time you had to go into a coffee shop instead of like a drive-through window thing with the size of a closet that can give you any kind of coffee you want. Turns out that does not exist everywhere. Insane. I don't understand that. Because they've got to be moneymakers, you know? Anyways, and everyone wants convenience and fast. We are so off topic. Anyways, I went to my favorite coffee hut. They didn't have eggnog and they didn't have gingerbread yet. So that was, they didn't. So that was tough. I did not quite get the holiday drink I was going for. Anyways, we went home and busted out that Christmas tree or that holiday tree. Got that up, started putting the lights, the new decorations, all of the ornaments. I got all of those things put up, and I'm like, it's not enough. It's not enough this year. I don't know. I guess the Christmas bug just bit me this year because now I'm looking around my living room and I'm like, I need 3 times as many decorations. I wouldn't have anywhere to store them, so I have no space for 3 times the decorations, but I want it. By the way, does your family have any like cool like Christmas ornament traditions or things they do like that? So my family growing up, my mom would always get us a new ornament each Christmas, and that ornament was something that represents us that year. And she quit once we got married or became adults or whatever. Her criteria moved. She couldn't settle on what it was. I think it was moved out was the final decision she made. Moved out or got married, whichever one came first. And so they were things that were meant to represent this year. So as you can imagine, I got a lot of Harry Potter ones. I got a few Star Wars ones. I've got one it's like a key with a house on top of it, and it's like first time I moved out and got my first apartment. I've got trying to think off the top of my head. I just put them up last night. But there was like, she gave me one my freshman year or my sophomore year of college, whatever. Whenever I became like a president of my fraternity in undergrad, I got a little president one. So like just like something that's like the most significant moment or was like a key part of your life that year. And that is just the cutest holiday tradition, right? And so that's definitely one I plan on taking with my kids. So if you've got like a little ornament tradition that your family has, I'd love to hear about it. Or if it's not ornaments, maybe it's something else. What's your holiday tradition? Love to hear it. Let's get the holiday spirit up. Because I got grief from I sent a video of me pouring an eggnog drink, panned over to the Christmas fireplace on my TV, and then panned over to the TV, and about half my friends loved it. The other half of my friends were like, "What the hell? Get out of here with that bullshit." So let's get some Christmas cheer. One moment. Needed to get another drink of coffee. I hate, cause it either goes that I stop a lot to drink, or I completely forget that the coffee is currently sitting right here in my hand, and then it's cold by the end of the episode. I don't know. I got to figure out a cadence. This is so much easier when I have a guest here, because then I can just drink when they're talking, and it's perfect. But I don't have regular guests at this time. Anyways, we're going to move on to my next topic. But I've had a very, very busy week this week, and not just with content, where I got out 2 new videos and an extra episode. I got out a new cooking video making applesauce. I got out a new tabletop Oasis video unboxing the second wave of HeroScape. And then I made the TikTok music episode. But outside of that, I have had probably one of the busiest weeks that I've had in what had to have been months. I had the full slew of homework for my classes, but then I also had doctor's appointments and like all of my life chores coming up. I have had a lot of it was bill a week, and these are just regular life things, but they all add up, and that they just happen to be like the perfect storm this week. Plus all sorts of extra things in my volunteer positions, and trying to like the videos meant that like I had to do a lot more editing, and then I also had like end of year prep, if that makes sense, like things to close out my patio for the winter, and getting ready for prepping for some tax stuff that I was doing this week. And there's just I'm looking at my to-do list this week in my journal, and it's just massive compared to every other week. So I don't know, I guess it was like the perfect storm, and it was stressful. It was actually a very stressful week trying to get through all of that. So I'm not really sure what happened. But talking about the content, I wanted to say that I feel like I'm getting better at making content. And what I mean by that is, I still make some mistakes, but I feel like I'm producing better quality content, and I am more comfortable on video. For instance, there are certain things that I feel like I tend to fall back on, or if I have to restart a YouTube recording 2 or 3 times, right, before I'm comfortable and it's not stiff on camera. That's how it started. But now I don't have that, and I know that there's not that many video things out there yet. But truthfully, that's because I am doing better about just putting things out there. I'm more okay with just getting it out and learning from it. Like the HeroScape video, I recently learned about. I recently learned how rickety that particular table is, and every time I moved to grab a new box, the mic was shaking. I couldn't hear that on my headphones, or I couldn't hear that in the test recording, but I could hear that very clearly in the video. And so I'm learning those little bits to make better quality stuff. And there's a lot of videos out there that I just ended up deleting because I was like, oh no, there's a there's an issue I can't fix. I don't want to put this out there when it's not good enough to go out, right? It's not like, high end amateur quality. It's wow, that's a little rough, But I'm trying to tell myself that it's okay to get that stuff out there because learn, and some people are going to be forgiving that mistake, and some people like to see you learning and growing and getting better, and so I'm just trying to be honest that like I recognize that I've made some audio mistakes or video mistakes or whatever, editing, what have you, but I'm like learning and I'm getting better, and so I'm getting a lot more comfortable also just getting that out there. I'm sad because I have thrown away a lot of videos, but to be fair, some of them I think were just like atrocious audio and definitely should not have seen the light of day because they were just so rough. I think one of the things like that is like on audio I say but on video I say okay. Which if I ever make clothes, I'm plan on writing a shirt that says okay, okay, okay. Because to me it's funny, but I don't know if other people are picking it up in my videos that pretty much at every transition I'm like, okay, so we do this, okay, now this, okay, and I don't know if people are picking it up, but I think it's funny. And there's the I feel I'm trying to be more conscious of those too. So there's those audio ticks that I'm like trying to learn from and pay attention to, and sometimes pause like that instead of saying and it's all part of the learning process, right? I'm figuring out and trying to make those adjustments real time. I'm trying to put my mind at ease, but like when I do that and when I'm trying to consciously have these like when I'm having these conversations but consciously working to not say and okay, I feel like there's just like one extra layer of brain power being used in the back of my head that ends up giving me these pauses and makes it harder to actually get through a conversation and know what I'm trying to say because, my brain is focused on, or not subconsciously, I guess consciously my brain is focused on that. And so it's harder for my subconscious to just blurb out whatever I'm trying to blurb out, whatever I've like consciously prepped. And so it becomes this problem. But I do think that I am making progress, that I am learning, that I'm getting better. And I hope that y'all can be forgiving and continue to listen in and support me this way as I've gotten better. You'd think after 5 years of podcasting, I might have learned, but I don't think I've put in concentrated effort to improve my audio and video speaking like I have in the last like year or in the last like few months. And so I think it'll just naturally get better and I won't have to think about it as hard. But until then, please don't leave me. And our final thing, as always, I'm leaving you off with a podcast recommendation. This one is called Good Morning from Hell. And it's a recently restarted podcast where the two hosts are interviewing people in hell. And so, for instance, it's Ben Franklin and Christopher Columbus, who I think we understand. Once you watch the episode, sometimes they drop these little like historical, like little tidbits in there. Like for instance, with Ben Franklin, they dropped how the skeletal remains of at least 15 people were found in the basement of Benjamin Franklin's former home in London. That's a little odd, right? There was over 1,200 pieces of bone that were found in a 1 meter wide by 1 meter deep pit. If it was a pit, that makes me feel like it was less likely to just be scientific research, right? Or, well, I mean, it was definitely scientific research, I think. But the part that's less likely is that, like, he got it by legitimate means. You know what I'm saying? Like, weird, a little weird. And Christopher Columbus, I don't even think we need to get into why he's probably in hell. Anywho, these people are then played by others, obviously. But Ben Franklin and Christopher Columbus were both played by hosts of other podcasts that I've previously talked about on this show. And it's obviously a very comedy podcast and pretty digestible format. It's on both YouTube and Spotify. And it's actually, I will be honest, it's another Rooster Teeth revival. It's another Phoenix from Rooster Teeth. A couple of the people from there bought out the rights to the show because it was a show on there, and so they've restarted it. And I think I have not watched the entire catalog, but the episodes I do watch, they're somewhat funny and they're entertaining, and I think they're a nice background podcast where you don't have to pay super close attention, and it's good for a good few laughs. Some people might find it hilarious. I know that they are a very successful podcast, so check them out a little bit if it sounds like it might be interesting. Having conversations with the dead people, where the hosts play those characters and try to, like, be authentic to a comedic sense. So, all right, that's it for another Saturday morning coffee episode. Don't forget to tell me your holiday traditions. I'd love to hear them. Maybe I might steal a few for my future. Happy decorating.